There were fireworks at the NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond Raceway. Austin Dillon wrecked both Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin on the last lap in overtime to claim the victory. Hamlin would finish in second despite being hooked into the outside wall by Denny Hamlin, given the fact that NASCAR waved the caution flag, ending the race and, I guess, sealing the finishing order. At least that is what it seemed to be following the post-race interviews where they did. NASCAR and NBC said that he finished in second. So before we get to this, though, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Here is the winning move, I guess, by Austin Dillon. Let's take a look here. You can see Logano gets a fantastic restart right here. Powers by Austin Dillon on the outside going into turn one, and then just moves by him coming out of two. Has full control of the lead going down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4. Hamlin is there in third in the catbird seat. I think that is Tyler Reddick in fourth, Bubba Wallace in fifth. White flag is out. Next flag ends the race according to NASCAR Cup Series rules. Hamlin still lurking back there in third. Logano pulls away coming out of turn 2. And here you go. Dillon just drives it in, washes up the track, spins out Logano, comes back down, clips Hamlin, sends him into the wall, gets a little shot from Reddick, but comes across the finish line. You can see caution and checkers are out. And that is how Austin Dillon supposedly won the race. I don't think that NASCAR should have given him the win. We've seen precedent that they will fine people for wrecking people on purpose. And I think that's exactly what he did. We have this report here from Jeff Gluck. He says Austin Dillon's team radio had said, quote, "I don't care how you do it," before he hit Joey Logano, and then wreck him before Denny Hamlin. And then Richard Childress then said, Pop is proud of you. So if that's not intentional, I don't know what is. And as I said, we've seen this in the past right here. If you recall, this was the finale for the Truck Series. Corey Heim was actually penalized after he retaliated against Carson Hocevar in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship last year in November. This is over on NASCAR.com. Heim was fined $12,500 and docked 25 points in the Truck Series driver standings. The penalty falls under the heading of NASCAR Rulebook, Sections 4.4 B and D, which refers to the NASCAR Member Code of Conduct. Goes on to say Heim was involved in a pair of incidents during Friday night's season finale, the first of which sent Heim's number 11 Tricon Garage Toyota spinning after a lap 120 bump from the number 42 Nice Motorsports Chevrolet fellow championship 4 contender Carson Hocevar. Just 27 laps later, Heim's truck made contact with Hocevar as the pair exited turn 2. And then you can see here why he was fined. And it says here, number 11 team's radio transmission indicated that Heim had violated the member guidelines, specifically in 3 areas of the rulebook: attempting to manipulate the outcome of the race or championship. I think that's pretty clear. That is what Austin Dillon did. He wrecked Joey Logano and then wrecked Denny Hamlin. I don't know what you would call that if not manipulating the outcome of the race by wrecking the 2 guys that were ahead of you. The other one here says wrecking or spinning another vehicle, whether or not that vehicle is removed from competition as a result. Clearly wrecked Joey Logano and clearly wrecked Denny Hamlin. I think that's pretty clear. That violates NASCAR's rule books there that they're citing just last year. Any actions deemed to compromise the safety of an event or otherwise pose a dangerous risk to the safety of competitors, officials, spectators, or others. I think wrecking the lead car and having him spin with other cars behind him definitely does that as well. I think if NASCAR had any integrity, they would have immediately disqualified Austin Dillon. He would not have been awarded the win. He would not have been given the chance to do a burnout. He would not have given the victory flag, and would not have given a interview post-race. And this is what he had to say post-race when he was asked about his moves, I guess.
I felt like with 2 to go, we were the fastest car. Obviously, had to have a straightaway, and Ricky wrecked the guy. I hate to do that, but sometimes you just got to have it. And I got to thank the good Lord above. It's been tough over the last 2 years, man, and I care about RCR, and these fans, and my wife, and this is my first, my baby girl. It means a lot. I felt like
So that is what Austin Dillon had to say. Here is Joey Logano's reaction from Jordan Bianchi after watching the replay. Now he's watching Dillon celebrate, I guess, turning around. Clearly not happy. Let's take a listen. So you can see Logano not happy there. This is what he actually said to Matt Weaver and the rest of the media post-race here. Let's take a listen.
For that move on you?
You can jump from 5 car lengths back and wreck someone, and then wreck another one to the line, and we're going to call that racing.
Should NASCAR take that away?
Yeah. Yeah, they won't.
Did you think that was coming, Joey? Knowing that
I mean, when you get like that far back ahead, 3-4 car lengths ahead in the 3, maybe back at the entry, I was like, I'm just grab the bottom here, I'm good. And he just drives in so hard. Obviously, he didn't make the turn because he hit me, and then the 11 was getting on the race. So, I mean, no intentions to race. I beat him fair and square on the restart. And he just pulled the chicken shit. He's a piece of crap. He sucks. He sucked his whole career. And now he's going to be in the playoffs, and good for him, I guess.
If NASCAR doesn't do something and you guys decide to maybe do something back, is that unfair? Because then they would punish the retaliation.
But I know it's ridiculous, and you can't stand for it. I got that out. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Obviously, I got that about this. You can't let shit like that happen.
So obviously Joey Logano very upset, understandable why. I think he's absolutely right, though. I think that NASCAR should have immediately disqualified Austin Dillon. I think he should have not been awarded that victory. I think we just went over their penalties that they gave to Corey Heim. They should give those same penalties to Austin Dillon. He clearly violated the rules of NASCAR, and he should have to face the consequences for that. He should have been disqualified. He should not have been allowed to win the race, especially because the fact that he wasn't even racing. He was not even racing at that point. He was literally just wrecking people. He was a pinball, and he was no longer even trying to respect the sport of racing. Here is what Denny Hamlin had to say. Let's take a listen.
Or is that just,
Where's the line, Bob? I mean, that's the thing is we have rules against, to prevent ridiculous acts, but, it's been a long time since those rules really have been enforced. I mean, lane rigs, spin someone out, and get 2 lap penalty or some bullshit. Like, this is, it's tough because this is what the young short track racers see, and they think that this is okay because they watch the professionals on Sunday that are supposed to act like adults just do dumb shit, and it's just amazing that it's allowed. I mean, but I don't fault him because he's completely desperate, right? He's 38th in points. He jumps 20 spots in points or whatever the hell it is. It's his season saved. Now, he'll have to pay repercussions down the line for this, but it's so worth it from his standpoint because there's no guardrails or rules that say don't do that. And there's no one in the tower that has any problem with it. So, we're never ever going to get taken seriously in the sport because we have no real efficiency.
Is it worse, Denny?
He's absolutely right. I mean, this is kind of what I've been harping on NASCAR for the past year now. They have absolutely no no understanding of what their even rules are. One race they're ruling on something, and then the next race is completely contradicting what their previous ruling was. They don't have any consistency. And I think that's really the biggest problem, is that NASCAR officials have no consistency. And I was a referee for soccer. I did it for, I don't know, probably a third of my life. And that is one of the biggest things that you learn. It was one of the hardest things that you learn, especially as a young referee, is that you have to be consistent. If you are not consistent, you lose the respect of the people that you're officiating. And at the end of the day, you can ultimately lose control of the game. And it can lead to people getting injured because people are going out there and doing even more violent things because you're not actually enforcing that. You're not calling that foul or whatever. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here with NASCAR. These people have no control over their sport. They have no consistency. And we're going to see more things like this. And Denny Hamlin is even already talking about he's going to have to pay for that later on. And what happens when he pays for that later on? I mean, who knows? Like, obviously there's good safety equipment in these cars, but still, these wrecks can do significant damage to people. I mean, we saw Kurt Busch ended his career last year backing into the fence at Pocono. He spun out by himself, not even being in a wreck. And he got concussion and he's done. He's never raced in a NASCAR Cup Series race since then. So Denny Hamlin, 100% right here. NASCAR does not know what they're doing, and they don't have any consistency. They have really bad officiating, and they need to fix it. They need to fix it because I do think that the integrity of the sport is at stake, and you have competitors calling them out saying, what is even going on here? These people have no clue what they're doing. But let's continue here. Listen to what else Denny Hamlin has to say.
Maybe not worse, but on the 3 radio, they instructed him to wreck you. When you got underneath him, they said,
what are we talking about then?
I mean, that's not a good look either.
Exactly. What are we talking about? He was instructed to wreck Denny Hamlin, and he did. That should be an instant disqualification. That should be an instant disqualification. And honestly, Denny Hamlin probably should have been the winner of that race the way it was playing out, because he did indeed wreck Logano, but should have been disqualified.
If you were to choose brutality, line fit, but that's maybe not where you expected to finish.
No, I mean, I certainly had resigned to the fact of finishing third there. But I knew that 3 was going to do something silly. And 3, I saw him driving in. He wasn't going to stop at the 22. So, it's unfortunate I was part of the 2 guys that got wiped out. But thank God. God had a role in this somehow.
What do you tell Bubba, because he's going to be in a similar position next few races, right? Like, and he just
people out to get him in. And there's no rules that prohibit it. And we've gotten here because this is what we've set up. We've set up eliminations and playoffs and knockouts and one race for a championship. We're trying to manufacture these type of moments. And when we do it and we look silly like tonight, it's, in my mind, your sport has bet on it, but I think that there's probably people in Daytona that love this shit, and they're the ones that are sending the sport backwards.
Is it open season?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it depends on what it just depends, right? Like, if I had to do that for Joey, it's like, oh, well, I gotta have to race him in the playoffs, that's the championship contender. Probably not. It's not worth it. For someone 30th in points, it's worth it because even if it gets wrecked every race from here to the end of the season, you're getting 20 spots in points that before doing it. They black jumping 15 spots in the points. It's crazy to think that that's how this all works, but my parents used to say, if you want to sit at the adult table, you have to act like an adult. And we just don't as a sport sometimes. And it's just, it's frustrating as someone that's been doing this so long to see where we've come. And I'll just bitch and complain the last few years. This is just crazy.
Is this the example the veterans should be setting for the rest of the field?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't get rewarded. Kids watch that and they think that it's fine. Like the fans are cheering and things like that. So it's there is no real penalty unless there is a penalty. So certainly, I hate the words, and sometimes the media says it. Y'all want you say sometimes. Well, he did what he had to do. I mean, that is way out of control.
Is the right rear hook worse than like driving into the yeah? That's worse than driving in the back of someone then, right?
100%. I mean, it's just I'm going to uniform and it crushed me on the right side. So, right rear hook. So we don't.
And there's been penalties for right rear hooks specifically.
A 2-lap penalty for Lane Riggs that spun somebody out in the truck race. But we're going to say that that's fine.
What are you gonna think if you see this?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, again, pointing out the inconsistency that NASCAR has. He's talking about Lane Riggs having to sit for 2 laps in a truck race for spinning someone out, and they're going to give Austin Dillon the win for wrecking 2 cars in the last lap of the race. It makes absolutely no sense because there is no sense to make of it. It is literally them just picking who they want to penalize and not being consistent at all. And when you don't have any consistency, you will lose control. That is what will happen. And I think that there is going to be more stuff like this happening, and it could end up being very detrimental for the sport of NASCAR. They need to have someone with the courage to actually start enforcing their rules and having consistency. They do not have that right now in Daytona, as Denny Hamlin is saying.
In promos for this race, like next year.
Quintessential NASCAR.
Do you go to the hauler tonight?
No. I got an owner that's pissed off. He just killed a $250,000 squad. He's not happy. I'm not happy. But what am I going to do to change their minds? I just hopefully reasonable people. They react to social media, so hopefully people like you guys call foul on it and say this is wrong. And this is not. We're not a professional sport if we don't officiate. You have to.
That's exactly what I'm doing right here. Didn't even know he was going to say that. So yes, I think NASCAR should DQ him. I think we need to raise a bunch of hell and get them to actually start being officials and make the calls and be consistent with their calls. They need to follow what they have laid out in the rule book and start actually enforcing it and being consistent about it. So that is basically kind of all the reactions we have. We do have this last one here. This is from Steven Stump over here on X. He says that Tyler Reddick was also pissed. Obviously, Reddick races for Denny Hamlin for 23-11 and Michael Jordan. And he says, Joey stole the words right from me. That was unbelievable. Racing for the win is one thing. Just plainly right hooking someone is another. And if you actually go back and watch it, you can see Reddick does indeed give Austin Dillon the bumper at the end of the race as they were crossing that start-finish line there. So I think a lot of drivers do not like the way that Austin Dillon did this. And I think, again, he's put a target on his back. But as Denny Hamlin says, it doesn't matter for him because he does get the reward. But I think, even if you wreck him every single race, he's still in the playoffs and he's there. He's getting rewarded for it. But I think that's still short-term thinking. I think long-term thinking, if these drivers want to really make a statement, they should just wreck him every single race moving forward from here on out. And so he never finishes a race ever again. That would be a huge statement that the drivers could make. That would be something that they could do as a protest against NASCAR. And again, like I said, it really kind of takes the power of NASCAR's hand because they have refused to be consistent to actually officiate. And I think that's something that could be done. Can you imagine doing that for the next 5 years or even 2 years? You're just constantly wrecking Austin Dillon and he's never finishing a race. That sends a pretty big message right there. But let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of what Austin Dillon did here? His explanation on why he did it. Joey Logano's reaction, Denny Hamlin's reaction. Obviously, a lot to take in here. But let me know what you guys make of this. Tyler Reddick's reaction here. Let me know in the comments below.